Good afternoon, good evening to all members of IFPH, well-wishers of homeopathy and homeopathic doctors. I thank IFPH organizers for introducing such a wonderful platform for the upliftment of this beautiful system of homeopathy. And thank you for inviting me in this platform. Let me begin. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. It was such a dream before some 225 years from an from a frustrated man, which helped in bringing out this beautiful system, which we all are proud of. So now we are going through a turbulent stage, and uh, IFPH and other platforms helps us to overcome in this difficult situation, as I believe. So we'll come to the point. What needs to be done to make homeopathy number one medicine in the world? That is the question. This question needs some explanation, I think. Number one, in what aspect? In what all aspects homeopathy has to be number one? Whether it is in quantitative aspect, qualitative aspect, or regarding its universality, or altogether. If you think of that qualitative aspect, those who have gone 2 times to any homeopathic doctors, and all those who are practicing or are in direct contact with homeopaths know homeopathy is based on a very sound philosophy, and flaws are less in that aspect. But there are certain flaws in the educational system as well as in the clinical practice, which has to be cleared up. It depends on various factors. Second is quantitative aspect. Quantitative aspect in the sense how many people among the world are using this system, how many practitioners are there in this system, how many people are getting employment, or how many people are employed in this system, how many beneficiaries are there in this system. These all includes the quantitative aspect. Regarding universality, we know homeopathy is spread over to different parts of the globe. At the same time, it is well flourished only in very few countries. It still has to explore to different parts of the world and flourish in its full extent. There are certain hindrances in that. There are certain good things we can look forward into. Uh, Basically, when we think of this system, uh, it is uh, classified under complementary and alternative systems all over the world, and it has its own uniqueness and individuality. That uniqueness and that individuality is one which makes homeopathy different from other systems as well as which defines homeopathy. And we have to understand in what way, what is the field of homeopathy. Homeopathy is basically a therapeutic system, and our field is limited to that therapeutic area. So it is that area where homeopathy works, and it is that area we have to explore further. There are certain conflicts, there are certain hindrances in that. One main hindrance which is in the way of us is regarding the explanation of scientificity of homeopathy among general public and in well-educated individuals. As you all know, modern scientific world don't uh, consider homeopathy as a proper scientific system. Uh, in this regard, we can say how to fit in when you are designed to stand out. But at the same time, when we are living in a uh, contemporary world where scientificity is so important, we cannot go away from that part. When you are putting it into brackets, some limb or other or some part of the body stands out, and it is very difficult to put it together in that frame, but difficult task has to be achieved. But it should not be done with removing some limb or some part which can cause homeopathy handicap. In this aspect itself, we have another challenging thing, that is, homeopathic doctors are usually the ones who are multitaskers. They are jack of all trades. They are doing all the clinical work. They are doing marketing themselves. They are doing research themselves. They are doing the technological advancement themselves. The thing we should improve, so as to improve homeopathy for the future, is integrating these experts in these respective fields like marketing, research, and technology. Those experts have to be incorporated in along with our homeopathic doctors. Homeopathic doctors can help them, but sole purpose, sole marketing, sole research, and sole technological advancement cannot be on the head of homeopathic doctors itself. So this integration has to be done. That is the prime thing to be done. Second one is a quality of education. For any system to flourish in a particular area, that system need to have structured educational pattern, educational institution, post syllabus and all. It is lacking in many parts of the world, excepting few countries like India. That structured learning program is lacking. That is another thing we have to be aware of in order to make this improved better. Third part is research. When we say about research, we have different research models. A lot of research is happening all over the world. A lot of researchers are doing things in different fields, including homeopathy. But one thing I found out is a proper research model which satisfies the methods of homeopathy is somewhat lacking. If it is lacking, that proper research model has to be developed with the help of research experts, and it has to be approved. Then only we can explore further into that. Otherwise, if you are following the research protocols of other systems and blindly copying that, it will not help us in progressing much. Another one thing is creating awareness among the public. That is where organizations like IFPH has its own importance. Voice of public, cry of public for homeopathy is very important. When we know in this situation, a lot of repression regarding homeopathy and other alternative systems were happening. What was the main reason for that? I think different aspects contributed. One is a lack of unified voice among homeopathic community. Second one was inability to convince the authorities about the efficacy of this system. Third one was this scientific question of scientificity. And another one was either lack of confidence or overconfidence among homeopaths. These four things contributed to the repression of homeopathy during this pandemic. I think if we were allowed to treat a little earlier, a lot of deaths could have been prevented. Along with that, we can also go through that emergency management part. Emergency management is completely mm, mm, uh, completely covered by modern system nowadays. Modern system of medicine is using all the new technologies, all the life-saving measures, and all equipments are used by them, and they are utilizing all those things for emergency management. So homeopaths are not allowed to enter into that emergency field. Only two ways are there in front of us. Either we should have all these emergency equipments in our own institutions, we have to make them in our own institutions, or we have to integrate with them without compromise to our individuality. So integrative approach with modern science, or at least modern equipments and modern emergency care facilities, is required. This is the easier way. Second one, which is making these emergency equipments available in our institutions, is a hard one. It is relatively difficult. But I think I love to believe that difficult roads often lead to beautiful places. So I love to have a I love to believe that we should have that beautiful place in front of us. Another thing is including homeopathy in this marketing and social media platforms, as well as in search engines. In search engines, if you go to Wikipedia and see, now also homeopathy is defined as a pseudoscience. There were certain efforts, huge efforts from different parts to clear it, but up to now it is not cleared. So the question arising here is lack of scientific research journals, approved research journals. So approved research journals cannot be done solely by homeopathy alone. We have to integrate with other researchers to make this happen in near future at least. A voice of the public, along with money, along with media, and along with help from authorities or approval from authorities. These all things are very important in propagating the system. So inflow of money, uh, help from media, and approval from the authorities. These things have to be there. Approval of authorities won't come easily. It comes when they are convinced, or voice of people comes for that. Voice of people ask for this, and if pressure is on the authorities, they will somehow manage to make this happen. So these are the preliminary things which has to be corrected in order to make our system a futuristic one. And one more thing is the lack of referral system and lack of standardization. In homeopathic system, that referral system is still lacking. There is no primary care, secondary care, or tertiary care in a structured manner. So the structured manner of primary, secondary, tertiary care, if made possible, that can help in the upliftment of the system as a whole, the whole community, as well as it helps in the benefit of humankind. And allied sciences in the sense, not only allied sciences, that sciences which helps in bringing of that courses which helps in bringing of other professionals related to homeopathy, like pharmacists, nursing care specialists, and all such things has to be done in parallelly, along with increasing number of colleges and spreading the system in different parts of the world. Integrative approach is having its own importance, as well as this collective discussion among whole world community, international cooperation among homeopaths, researchers, scientists, and technological people can bring about huge changes. And future belongs to those who believes in their dreams. And I think this platform itself is the fruit of such a dream, and let it bring more wonders to the system of homeopathy, and let it bring uh, more benefit to the humankind in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep, for our discussion. Next, I am inviting Dr. Juan Carlos Gamba from Colombia, from the University of National de Colombia. He's a medical specialist in homeopathy from Unipace University, fellow in homeopathy of Canadian Academy of Homeopathy, and he's the member of Professional Union of Homeopaths in Quebec, Canada, and he live and work in between Canada and Colombia. Dr. Juan Carlos, welcome, please.
You are not audible, doctor. Your sound system, you are not audible.
I not connected the mic. I think it's not. Oh, wait.
Now, did you hear me?
Yes,
Did you hear me?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Thank you very much. So the sound is good now. Yeah.
Yes, good, good.
Okay.
Yes, doctor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Juan Carlos Gamba. First of all, I want to thank the IFPH for inviting me to share my views about what needs to be done to make homeopathy #1 in the world. First, I want to make a little introduction about myself. I am a Colombian physician specialized in homeopathy, and I live and work between Canada and Colombia. I have been practicing homeopathy for the last 21 years, and I am a former member of the Syndicat Professionnel des Homéopathes de Québec. At this moment, I speak to you from the heart of Colombia, from the beautiful city of Armenia. So what I'm going to share today has to do with the first-hand experience and observation that I have living in these two places. So I apologize in advance if anything I'm going to say seems biased, but it's my personal experience, and surely much of what I'm going to say today is not necessarily applicable to the environment of each one of you, since the homeopathic dynamic is very different in each geographical place on this planet. For me, my dear friends, it's not a question of whether homeopathy is #1 or #2. This does not really seem that relevant to me, since we are not in a competition with the official medicine. For me, it's more important the role that homeopathy can play in the integrity approach that health systems and governments should provide to patients. For me, the concept of integrality when providing health service is a precious opportunity that homeopathy should take advantage of in order to achieve visibility and acceptance. I am one of those who think that homeopathy can work in harmony and synergy with other approaches to medical knowledge. And sincerely, I do not think that the fact that we are homeopaths should not separate us from our medical brothers. Let's remember that we are all doctors, first and foremost. We just have a different way of looking at life and the patients. There is a saying that says that to know everything is to forgive everything. And if I put myself in the shoes of my allopathic colleagues, I can understand where conflicts and not acceptances of our therapeutic are can arise. Our task is to make them understand in a language that they can assimilate and that does not generate conflict. What homeopathy is doctrine and principles. Although our art has a strong vitalist roots, it seems to me that it's the order of the day to learn to have a dialogue with our allopathic colleagues according to the current demands and times. We have been slow to update our jargon and philosophical concepts so they can be more easily digested by the current medical academic community. We cannot approach, for example, an auditorium full of teachers, students, and academics and speak to them with the 18th and 19th century concepts and terms. How many times we have been asked how homeopathic medication works, and we simply answer that it was by means of energy, harmonizing health. Other times we got into complicated territory and say that its action is explained by quantum physics, and that's it. And even worse, many times we even fall into the esoterics to give explanation. I think that it's time to start talking in terms of nanoparticles, nanoclusters, and it is time, as Dr. Rajesh Shah said last week, to do a thorough house cleaning. So the call today is to give scientific seriousness to our art in order to free it from much prejudice, but the worst starts at home. And the above serves me as an opener to talk about the following. I am a firm believer that the getaway for homeopathy to be accepted in the academy. And when I speak of the academy, I am talking about the university and scientific association. And it is the key to its eventual acceptance by government. Health policies are always clearly interrelated with academia. To put in context, here in Colombia, when the Colombian Association of Homeopathy was created, it joined the exclusive club of belonging to the group of scientific societies. And this gave support and seriousness to the association. So observe the dynamic of how things work. Now, it is often necessary to lobby. You know what I mean? Lobby in order to achieve progress. Yes, unfortunately, that is how things work, and we cannot go against the current. I want to emphasize that having a professional association that represents them is a strength when it comes to promoting and protecting our art. And I believe that every country should work to have an association or syndicate or union that can act as a representative voice of each one of the members and serve as a means of communication with the different levels of the government. I will allow myself to quote the vision and mission of the association in our country just to give you an idea what it means to empower the profession. So it's like this. The Colombian Association of Homeopathy is a private, autonomous, apolitical, and non-profit association that gathers and serves homeopathic physicians certified under Colombian law and people of the health profession interested in homeopathy who practice in the national territory and wish to maintain, and this is very important, to maintain, obtain, increase, use, or manifest the knowledge about homeopathy and provide a more human and quality care with ethical principles to the population that it needs. So the Colombian Association of Homeopathy will be an entity responsible for ensuring the proper functioning of homeopathic medicine in the Colombian territory, which will promote the maintenance of high values of academic, ethical, and guide quality of its associates. So positioning itself as a reference point to the advancement of homeopathic medicine in our country. So now, my friends, in my country, homeopathy is a medical surgical specialty offered to both physicians and veterinarians. However, reaching this status was not an easy task. It was necessary to go through a long and difficult process full of obstacles, setbacks, and negotiation. Today, the status of being a specialist in homeopathy allows the possibility of working legally, and thanks to this, we can make ourselves very visible to the population and governmental entities. In clear contrast has been my experience in Canada. I live in the province of Quebec, and unfortunately, homeopathy has not been able to be taken into account as a valid medical system that can be incorporated in the health system of the government. I have witnessed the attacks of the academia, imagine this is contradictory, university, and the media against homeopathy. Only one province in Canada, that is Ontario, has endorsed homeopathy as a profession and has it in the public health service. However, I say the day when it be considered as a medical specialty and allowed to be practiced by physicians as a still a long way off. And contradictory phenomenon is what we are beginning to observe here in Latin America and in the other countries of the world, where we are seeing more and more openness, although at first timid and cautious toward the essence of homeopathy as a medical system. So today there are many countries that not only offer a specialization in homeopathy, but also prepare the way towards this reality through the offer of diplomas, extension courses, master's degrees in homeopathy. And what is more, some universities already include an approach to undergraduate medical students in order to enable them a first immersion with homeopathy, which is really a great advance. And let's hope that it becomes globalized so that homeopathy is given the status it deserves. So now, before ending my short intervention today, I am going to allow myself to change the thread of this talk to touch a point that seems fundamental to me in order to strengthen homeopathy and the results we obtain with it. And that is the instrument of analysis of the information for prescribing. And by this, I am referring to the repertories under the Materia Medica. Undoubtedly, in the last 20 years, there has been a great advance in terms of the development of digital repertories that are increasingly more sophisticated and sometimes not so user-friendly, but more is not necessarily better. Quality is being sacrificed, my friends, for quantity, in my opinion. Now, in relation to the Materia Medica, we face imperfection as well. I'm going to give you a small example that I will hope serve as a point of reflection. Why most of the few provinces that are carried out are polarized in the mental aspect? If I make the relation, 80% more or less is mental aspect and 20% the rest. Why are these proving no well balanced in proportion of the information in the mental, the general, the particular symptoms, as were those made by Hahnemann and his group of provers, the Union prover in Germany. So this is a simple thought for food. We still depend on the information given to us by the master of the past, but we need to update and to correct this information in order to validate it and thus incorporate into the repertories and improve its reliability. And then speaking of the reliability of our tools, let's not forget the maxim of computer science that if garbage in, garbage out. And this must be taken into account when refining of our instruments. Okay, I don't know if I'm out of time. I have some points to talk, but
Okay,
practically.
doctor, please continue. Please, you can take it 2-3 minutes more, no problem.
I want to share two experiences. And since we are talking about improving our homeopathic tools, since this will result in better therapeutic results and better promotion of homeopathy, let me share with you two academic projects that are being led by two colleagues of mine of recognized international trajectory. The first one is a project led by one of my mentors, Dr. Andre Sain from Canada. We see the Materia Medica Pura project. And this means active improvement of the two most important tools for homeopathy, that is Materia Medica and repertories. Andre saying his colleagues of the Materia Medica project are improving the two most important tools available to practitioners, continuing the Materia Medica work of Samuel Hahnemann and Konstantin Herring, because you must know that since T.F. Allen and Konstantin Herring compiled and published their comprehensive works of the homeopathic Materia Medica at the end of the 19th century, no further systematic revision of the Materia Medica has taken place. So they are working hard. This is an international project. Yeah, there is a lot of colleagues from North America, India, Asia, Europe working together. I don't have much time to give details about it, but it's very interesting. I know that there is another group, the group of Dr. Gibser from Germany and Dr. George Dimitriadis from Australia, to name a few, who are working toward the same goal of updating the Materia Medica based on the primary sources of biographical reference, correcting mistakes and updating the respective monographs. But the most beautiful project, in my point of view, is led by a fantastic homeopath from Argentina, one of my other mentors, Dr. Carlos Cámpora, and it's about the importance of creating a bank where high quality cases in homeopathy are registered with all the rigor in a systematic way, which obviously is the seed to support a requirement that the scientific community demands so much, and that is evidence-based medicine, my friends. So this is basically what I want to share today. I found a lot of more information and details about these two projects, but I am out of time. So thank you very much. And thank you again for inviting me to this beautiful meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Juan. Thank you for your valuable suggestions.
Thank you,
next one joining with us is Dr. Birod Kumar. He is the product of National Institute of Homeopathy, Kolkata, and he is the first homeopathic student from Nepal, and he completed classical homeopathy from Greece and practicing for last 7 years, and he's the vice president of Nepal Homeopathic Association. Dr. Birod Kumar, please welcome.
No, please unmute, doctor. Please unmute.
Well, thanks a lot. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Birod Kumar. I'm from Nepal. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me an opportunity to speak on this prestigious platform. Well, the topic is what needs to be done to make homeopathy the #1 system of medicine. Before putting my point of view on this particular topic, well, history teaches us the best lesson, which we should never forget. So allow me to take you all to the pages of history. Allow me to take you all to the glorious days of homeopathy in the United States. Well, homeopathy was quite popular in the United States in the 19th century. Homeopathy was introduced into America by a Dutch immigrant named Hans Gram. And since its introduction, homeopathy witnessed a lot of success and popularity. Well, the driving force behind the popularity of homeopathy, the credit goes to the great Constantine Hering. After Hering, it was the great stalwart Kent. During his time, homeopathy witnessed a lot of success and glorious days. Well, by the end of 19th century, America had almost 20 homeopathic medical schools, more than 100 homeopathic medical colleges, and more than 1,000 homeopathic practitioners. And the most significant point in the whole history of American homeopathy for the development of homeopathy was the way homeopathic physicians tackled the epidemics. The result they got during the treatment of epidemic, most specifically the cholera epidemic, the success result led homeopathy to great success, and homeopathy became quite popular. Well, it is not that during those time in the 19th century, homeopathy did not face obstacle. The American Medical Society, which was formed by the physicians of Orthodox School of Medicine, well, the prime aim and objective was to target the homeopathic system of medicine and homeopathic physicians. Those medical practitioners who practiced homeopathy were removed from the American Medical Association. Moreover, those practitioners who even consulted the homeopathic physician, they were removed from the medical association. And being removed from the medical association those days meant that they were deprived of the medical license. They were deprived of practicing the medical science. But instead of so much hindrance, instead of so much obstacle, instead of so much target being made to defame homeopathy, homeopathy continued to be popular. Homeopathy continued to flourish. Homeopathy continued to grow. And the main reason behind this was the homeopathic physician, those who were practicing homeopathy at that time, they were fully grounded to the basics of homeopathy. They were fully dedicated to the teachings of Hahnemann. And this dedication, this being grounded to the basic principle, the fundamental principles of homeopathy, led them to a lot of successful cures. And these successful cures and those patients who were very much satisfied by the homeopathic treatment, they made homeopathy more and more popular. But despite being so much popular till the end of 19th century, what actually happened that led to the downfall of homeopathy? Well, when we look back at the history, the major setback came in the year 1910, when the Flexner report was published. And Flexner report provided the basic guidelines in order to run the medical schools. Well, the ratings were given, the higher ratings were given to the medical schools that provided education and emphasis on the physiology, pathophysiology, the anatomy, the surgery, the laboratory findings. And those schools which did not emphasize more on these subjects, they were given the lower ratings. And the higher rating medical graduates, they were allowed to attend the licensing exams. But those graduates who were from the lower rated colleges, they were not allowed to participate in the medical licensing exam. And because of which they were deprived of practicing medicine. And due to the Flexner report, by the end of 1923, out of 22 homeopathic medical schools, only 2 medical schools, homeopathic medical schools remained. And in order to compile with the Flexner report, in order to compile with the Flexner guidelines, these homeopathic medical schools, they gave more emphasis on the basic sciences. They gave more emphasis on the laboratory investigations, pathophysiology, the anatomical part. While doing this, less emphasis was given on the homeopathic education. And consequently, those homeopathic graduates who passed out from these medical colleges, they lacked basic homeopathic education, understanding. They lacked the basic understanding of homeopathic science. And when they came into practice, they had lack of confidence to treat the cases. Instead of individualizing the case, instead of prescribing on the totality of symptoms, they started prescribing on disease categories. They started prescribing different medicines for different set of symptoms. A different set of medicines were given for headache. A different set of medicines were given for the gastralgia. A different set of medicine were given for the skin diseases within a same patient. They forgot the holistic approach. They forgot the individualistic approach. And because of this departure from the fundamental principles, the result they got from the patient was very much poor. The homeopathic physicians started losing their confidence in the system of homeopathy, and most of them, they gave up homeopathic practice. And the patient who believed in homeopathy, they were forced to choose different systems of treatment. Now, why I told you the whole story is, the moral of the story teaches us that no matter what situation we face, no matter how much obstacle we face, no matter how much controversy we are taken into, we should not forget our basic ground. We should not forget the fundamental principle. In today's world, nothing new. We are being targeted each and every day. The modern medicine physicians, the big pharma company funded intellectuals, the scientific fraternities, what they say homeopathy is just pseudoscience. They say homeopathic effect is a placebo effect. But do not bother. Do not run after these controversies. Do what we can do the best. What a homeopathic physician can do the best. What homeopathic physician can do the best is take the case, take the patient. Our first and foremost aim is to treat the patient. Take the case properly according to homeopathic principles, analyze and evaluate the information, analyze and evaluate the symptoms, and prescribe according to the totality. Prescribe according to the uncommon, peculiar, singular, characteristic symptom as said by Hahnemann. And once we do these things, we will get very, very much good results. And people will definitely start believing, and homeopathy will be getting more and more popular. I'd like to draw your attention on one more point. The homeopathic graduates these days, they have, they lack confidence in practicing homeopathy, specifically classical homeopathy. Well, despite having a good curriculum, despite having a good curriculum regarding the homeopathic studies, despite having organ medicine, pharmacy, materia medica, repertory, case-taking part, what is the reason that the student passing out have no confidence in practicing classical homeopathy? I think the colleges that teach homeopathy, basically they should practice classical homeopathy in their OPDs and IPDs, so that the young budding homeopathy, the young growing homeopathy doctors, they will see, they will witness with their own eyes the beautiful cures that classical homeopathy offers. They learn to practice classical homeopathy after being exposed to the great teachers. So the university must teach them how to think. Currently, I think that we graduate from the university, we pass out from the colleges, but sadly, the university do not teach us how to think. Well, this is the biggest lacking I see. And once they are being fully armored by the knowledge of homeopathy, they have developed an interest in learning homeopathy. Once they come out after being graduated, they'll start practicing and they will start witnessing the real cures. Well, what the practice these days is they pass out, they come to the real world, they meet real patient, but they do not know what to do. They start running after shortcuts. They start running after myths. They start running after irrelevant ideas. I'll give you a simple example. We have a lot of homeopathic stalwarts in India. Well, Rajan Sankarang, Dr. Sarkar, Dr. Somendra Adhikari, a lot of them. I've seen a lot of YouTube video of them. But when you see the views on that video, you'll be surprised. 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. But in contrast, you see a random guy posting a YouTube video claiming this homeopathy combination or that patent medicine curing a certain diseases, and the amount of viewer you see is millions and millions of viewers. This shows that the young homeopathic doctors, they are being attracted towards the myth. So basically, the teaching faculties, the Central Council in Research in Homeopathy, the Ministry of Ayush, they should focus on bringing young blood who is very much equipped with the armor of homeopathy. Well, this is all I have to say. Thanks a lot once again for providing me a platform. Thank you.